Hey TCSTV viewers, it's Evelyn from the camera store, and I'm in beautiful, rainy Innisfil, Alberta tonight. We're at a ranch, we're here for the rodeo, and I'm very excited because we're just about to meet up with Todd Korol, who's an award-winning photojournalist. Todd's been shooting for the last little while with the Sony a7 III, and he's been a Canon shooter for years, and we're going to talk about it tonight. We're going to talk about how that camera stacks up against the 5D Mark IV. We're going to find out what he thinks about it.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing good.
Good, having a good day so far?
Good day, wet,
Excellent.
cold.
So how's the a7 III been over here?
A7 III's been great. It's a little muddy, it's a little wet, but it's performing well. Come on, let's go shoot some pictures.
Let's do it. Todd, you've been shooting for publications for the last 25 years.
Long time.
Maclean's, Globe and Mail, Time Magazine, and throughout the years that I've known you, you've pretty much been shooting Canon.
Yeah.
So why have you been shooting with Canon for so long?
I mean, for me, Canon, one of the biggest things is the color space. The color out of the cameras has always been so easy to work with. You know, just needs very little post work. And in journalism, photojournalism, that's a big thing, is not having to work on files a lot. And the other thing is the ease of use.
Right.
The Canon menu system is great. The back of the camera is fantastic. The buttons seem to make sense. The cameras fit into my hand really well.
Yeah.
I mean, the system just works really well.
The look and feel of these cameras are very different. The 5D Mark IV is very beefy. You said it feels really good in your hand. So how does the a7 III feel in your hand?
This camera, I love these little things because it fits in my hand well. It feels really well. It starts with these small lenses, it works well. When you start getting the 70 to 200 on it, like I was using at the rodeos, it starts to get a little front heavy. It doesn't quite balance as well.
Now, talking about having a small system, you're a professional photographer, you're dealing with clients all the time. Do they have a different reaction to you if you show up with a smaller mirrorless camera?
I don't think so. I think clients they're strictly interested in the images that you're producing, in the video that you're producing. That's what they care about. They don't really care what you're using.
Whether your camera looks pro or not.
Whether it looks pro or not.
How is this performing for you?
Camera's performing very well. The autofocus really locks on, really works really well. One of the things that I'm not big on, or I haven't gotten used to yet, is once you start going in the motor drive, the images start to go away. And I like to time my action shot, so I press the trigger, I'm trying to time a shot and try to capture a shot. I don't let the motor drive just run. And I'm finding when the motor drive, when a shot happens and the motor drive starts going, I start losing, like you can't really focus on the frames and what's happening.
You're getting that blackout.
Yeah, kind of like a blackout. It's just not refreshing fast enough. So that's one of the things I'm finding about this camera.
Both cameras on paper are capable of capturing amazing image quality, but there's been a lot of talk on the internet about inconsistencies in the skin tones. So how do you feel about that?
Skin tones, speaking of, what's going on with your hands? They're blue, they're purple. Are they cold? What's going on
No,
here?
it's because it's raining and my pants are blue and they're new and they're like, they're not proper cowboy pants.
You look very Western though.
Thank you.
It's a good place to look very Western.
Julian said that I look like a buckle bunny, and I had to look up what that is, and I'm not a buckle bunny, so.
Nice,
so
well the cowboys will like that. Here, yeah.
What are you seeing in the Sony a7 III files for
I think they're very nice. I like them, and I gotta say the Canon is still a little nicer in the skin tones. The Sony was very nice, but I feel the Sony, you can get there, it just needs a little bit more processing.
Okay, so we're behind the chutes right now before the bull riding starts, and Todd's just talking to a couple of the riders.
So no scores.
So I'm here with Garrett Green. Garrett Green's one of the best bull riders in the country. Last weekend he won the PBR in Moose Jaw, and he's riding here tonight. So I get in real close with these guys. They let me come in here. I know my way around the chutes here, and I can shoot them, and I try to get as close as I can to the action to get the most dynamic picture.
I know you're
on the wall back here.
One of the things you notice is I shoot out like that with my hand. I love this live view and this articulating screen on this camera because it lets me see what I'm shooting, and I can shoot fast and I don't have to have it right up to my eye. Well, another small town rodeo in the books.
That was so awesome. This was a lot of fun.
It was great. It got a little wet, got a little muddy.
I know, I'm covered. It's awesome, but it's so great that we got to go behind the chutes and seeing those guys interact with you. They really trust you.
Oh, it's wonderful. They're a great group of guys, and I love going back there. I love getting close, and that's what I really like about these small town rodeos. You have full access. I try to capture the atmosphere of the place, not so much the action or who wins. I'm trying to capture, you know, the mud and the people cheering on and just the, you know, the whole dynamics of the rodeo.
The energy back there is absolutely amazing. There's nothing else you can compare to it. Seeing those guys like be amped up on adrenaline just before they're about to go and ride on a 1,000-pound animal.
Oh yeah, these guys, they get really amped up.
And when you get close to them, you can see like their gnarly cuts on their hands, and like these guys are beaten up, but they're ready, and I don't know. It's fun.
And I've seen these guys get hit. They get hurt, you know, in a big way. Listen, Pincher Creek tomorrow. It's in southern Alberta, in the heart of ranch country. You want to come? We'll shoot some more.
Yes, let's do
A73. Let's go.
Amazing.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay. Okay, so it's day 2 of our rodeo adventure. It's pouring outside, but we headed down to Pincher Creek, Alberta, and right now we're inside of their horse pavilion because tonight it's going to be the 2018 Buck Wild Ranch bronc riding. So we're hopefully going to be able to see that. I don't know how they're going to do it in this kind of weather, but apparently that's just what these cowboys do. What is it about the autofocusing system that would help you with the kind of work that you do? In
my shooting the rodeo the past couple days with the 70-200, it's been a great lens. It seems to catch on really fast. It follow focuses really, really well. I love the eye detection system. It can pick up your eye, it can pick up your face. One thing I noticed though with the eye detection system or the face detection is when you're wearing a hat like you are right now, it actually picks up the brim of the hat, so the eyes are out of focus. So you really have to watch that. You have to switch from that system into a single point so that you can go into your face and it's not going to pick up on the brim of your hat. So that's one of the things you have to watch. Of course.
Now, Chris, it has 693 focusing points, which is insane. If we're talking about the 5D Mark IV, which only has, I think, about 60, you have a lot more autofocusing points to choose from. So you're able to have that eye autofocusing system across the whole sensor.
You can see in these cameras that this by far is the future. I mean, you know, this is a representation of the future and what the future is going to hold for cameras. It is great to have all those points. Not that you would manually look at those points, but that the camera has the ability to follow your face. And from what I've seen using these cameras, it works really, really well. Like, I was a little skeptical of it because, you know, I've been a photographer that uses that center point all the time and maybe uses 9 points in the Canon and moves it around a little bit, but this thing really works well.
Yeah, it makes it fun to shoot.
It makes it a lot of fun to shoot. And oftentimes, especially when you're shooting a portrait, if your subject's moving a little bit, you don't have to worry about that because on everything that I've shot and I've gone back and I've looked, the eyes are in focus. Everything's in focus.
What about battery life? I know that was an issue for you a few years ago when you first tried out. It was I think it was the A7, A7S. That's come a long way. Are you finding that the batteries of the A7 III keep up with your workflow?
I played with these cameras a while back and I tried them out, and then I would find I would go and I'd shoot something and all of a sudden your battery's dead, or it says your battery's at 33%, and then you go pick up your camera and your camera's dead again. And you know, it's just nothing frustrating. So you'd miss all these pictures, or you'd have to walk around with 5 batteries for a day, which is you know, ridiculous. Whereas I find this now, you know, yesterday I shot all day. We started shooting, I think, at 4:30. I shot all day and all night, and I had the camera going all the time, and I still had 33% battery life left. So now we're talking, you can actually use this camera. Now I'm not thinking.
You're not worried about it.
I'm not worried about, okay, is my battery going to be dead? Am I going to miss a picture? Because there's nothing worse than you miss a picture.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, if we're in a rainy situation like we were yesterday, you don't want to be having to pop out batteries very often.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one thing, you know, and the one thing I found yesterday as well is, you know how wet we got?
We did.
These cameras held up really, really well.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, better than my Canon, because the Canon 5D Mark IV went down in the rain, which is a bummer. Can't see anything on the back of my camera. I hope it's working. We'll see. Maybe because I have a Sony camera around my neck. Doesn't like that. I don't know if it was the rain, but it was wet, and now we have to, like, I can't get the menu system working. So but so far
it's been,
they've been holding up really well.
And you didn't bag your cameras or anything.
No, I don't use bags on my
brave.
cameras because, you know, it just, they get in the way. Anything that gets in the way of taking a good photograph, I don't like. I hate that hindrance of having to work around something just to try to take a picture. So these things, everything is built so well. You know, the Canons, the Nikons, the Sonys, they're built well. They can take mud, they can take rain. I mean, you know, you can't dump it in a river, but they're built to take this kind of stuff now.
Yeah, they have to. You've been using the Canon menu system for, I don't know, 20 years maybe, maybe longer.
Yeah.
And now you're switching over to the Sony system, which tends to actually have one of the most in-depth menu systems. There's a lot of deep tabs that you have to go through to change some of your settings, a lot of customization. How are you feeling about that?
It's complicated. The menu system is a bear on this camera. I mean, it's just, it goes on. I think it's too extensive. Maybe it's not too extensive. I think parts of it just don't make sense, because when I go to try to find something that I've done once before, I can't find it, and you got to really slow down, and it's a difficult system to use. Now, yes, I've been using Canon for a long time, but I find Canon intuitive. It works really well. It works very quick. It seems to make sense. Even Nikon, I've used Nikon, you know, it's a telling tale when you can pick up a camera system that you've never used before and just instantly go into the menu and figure things out. Sony is really difficult. It's just hard.
It's just hard. Yeah, it might take some more time to even just get used to.
Get used to it. I know that you can now customize and put your favorite menus in a custom setting, which is great. I have found that
to be a little bit easier, especially in this model with more of the
I love the fact that you can, you know, I love the customizable buttons because I do that. And I love the fact that you can customize everything, every button on the camera.
What about the image transfer? They both cameras, the 5D Mark IV and the A7 III, they have the Wi-Fi transfer, so you can do the instant connectivity. I mean, I find that the Canon Wi-Fi transfer is actually a lot more complicated to set up initially than the Sony system.
It is.
So I think they have figured out a better setup on that.
Again, I've used the Canon system and I've got it working, but it always kind of struggles. It doesn't connect sometimes. Where the Sony system really works well. You say, you know, transfer to smartphone, you turn your smartphone app on, you hit connect, and boom, your picture's right there. And nowadays, I do a lot of work for clients that they actually want pictures really quick for their social media, for Twitter, for Instagram. And with this system, I can just go bang and send it. When I shoot this rodeo like this, this saddle bronc riding, I like to go really low like this. When I go really low, when those horses go up high, it even looks like they're going up higher. And then there's that last shot where the horse is jumping right over the guy. He looks like he's towering over him.
You got him right underneath.
Got him right underneath, and I always like to give a little bit of room for the horse to go into my compositions.
Yeah, and I like how your photos, you always have a lot more of the sky in it, because if you're standing, you're going to get
if you're standing, you're getting more of the gate. There's a big house in the background, so I'm trying to get rid of all of that stuff. So I shot the first round with the 7200mm lens. One of the interesting things about this camera is that you can use other brand lenses on this thing with an adapter. So I'm going to try out my 16-35 Canon, and let's go right behind the chutes, close to the action where the horses are coming out of the gates, and let's see what we can do with this lens.
Sounds great. Can't believe we have this in our backyard. If you're in Alberta or anywhere that has small town rodeos, like, you gotta go.
You gotta go. The culture's fabulous. The cowboys are fabulous.
The food is amazing.
Food is great. The fans are warm. Everybody's friendly.
Yeah.
Everybody's having a good time. I mean, this is Canadiana, you know?
Yeah.
This is our culture. This is great.
Exactly. So how do you feel about the A7 III now that you've shot a couple rodeos, you've done some other work before that?
Yeah.
Is this a good contender for this kind of work?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I think anybody who buys this camera is going to have no problems getting good photographs here. You're going to have to struggle a bit with the menus. You're going to have to take some time. You're going to have to really learn the camera.
So this is an open your manual kind of camera.
Oh, for sure, for sure. You have to learn how to use this camera. You have to learn about the menu system. You have to learn about how you can customize this camera, and it's very customizable. I mean, it's really, really good. I like that about this camera, that you can make each button do what you want.
Do your own thing.
It's a little awkward with those longer lenses. It gets a little top heavy to use in the hands. You know, this camera is great with the shorter lenses, but having said that, it works fabulous with the long lenses. Anybody who buys this camera is going to take great photographs, no question.
Yeah. So is it enough to move over completely to Sony?
Well, I think for me, not yet. I think that, you know, it has a little bit of a ways to go before I would fully move over to Sony. However, I did buy an A7R III.
Yeah.
I've bought a kit of small fixed focal length lenses that I use for photojournalism, that I use in amongst close, you know, my reportage work, and they work great. It works fabulous. And the great thing is I've shedded a whole bunch of weight when I use this camera system.
Definitely. And of course, there's a whole bunch of Sigma lenses that are coming out. There's Canon glass that you can use from before.
Well, that's the exciting thing about this camera. You get all these adapters, and you know, although this is covered in mud right now, but you can get all these adapters. I use Leica. I can use my Leica lenses on this. I can use my Canon lenses on this. You can use Sigma, you can use Nikon, you can use old great Minolta lenses on it. That's an exciting thing about this camera, is it opens your doors to all kinds of things.
Yeah, I think Sony is really doing a good job of listening to the pros, and
for sure, no question.
They're actually going to be coming out with you to your rodeo workshop.
They are,
this summer. So I really look forward to seeing how Sony takes some of that information and continues increasing the usability for pros generation after generation. They've come such a long way.
Yeah, and it's great. And you know, in full disclosure, I've done some work with Canon. Canon has come to my workshops. Sony is going to come to my workshops and put some of these cameras in students' hands. And I think that's great. I've paid full camera store prices for all my camera equipment, so I'm not getting anything for free.
Yeah.
But it shows you, I think Sony is really going after people. They're really listening to people as well, of their feedback from these cameras, because you can see just from one generation how much this camera system has improved.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for letting me come along with you for this.
My pleasure.
This is amazing. And Brendan too. It's too bad Dave couldn't come. He's in Montreal photographing fitness championship or something like that.
He heard it was going to rain or something, and he doesn't like
He's
the
like,
wet
I'd rather
weather,
sleep in the airport in Montreal.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
You know, yeah, this was a great time. Such a good experience.
Next time we'll have to bring Dave out here and get him muddy and
get him real muddy,
And then you'll have to come back with me sometime this summer.
Yes, I would love that. And for those of you at home, make sure you check out Todd's Instagram profile. He has some amazing work, and you'll get to see cowboys, you get to see fashion stuff, sports. He does a little bit of everything, so you really got to go see that. And of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure that you subscribe. So thanks again.
My pleasure. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, until next time.
Thanks for coming out.